And time now to talk politics. I'm joined by Senator Jeremy Hutchinson, Republican of Little Rock, Representative Vivian Flowers, Democrat from Pine Bluff. Thanks to both of you for being here. Appreciate you.
That's right.
All right, let's begin with the big news on Friday afternoon. The MLK Robert E. Lee holiday split. It actually passed the House. It's going to the governor. He's already tweeted he plans on signing it. He obviously testified for it. Yeah. Vivian, what was different in this legislature on this particular topic than previous legislatures?
I have to give the governor his due on his leadership. Number one, he made it a substantive bill and made this change substantive. And I think that because it was advanced as a bipartisan bill and as not a Black caucus bill or a bill for Black people, but something that was important to the entire state, I think it resonated differently this time.
Yeah, the governor actually mentioned, Senator Hutchinson, that he wished he had done more in the last legislative session. You probably talked to him a little bit about that. Why do you think he got more engaged this time?
Well, I think it's a combination. First session, he was trying to just figure out where the bathrooms were. He had just been elected. He had an agenda he had campaigned on, and he wanted to make sure that got passed. You settle in, you feel more comfortable, and he realized, hey, it hurt with our economic development around the country. Some people use that as a reason not to come to Arkansas. But more importantly, you just talk to people. And I know in the Senate, Senator Joyce Elliott and Senator Linda Chesterfield, it hurts. And it hurts them, and it's hard to look somebody who you respect in the eyes and explain why we haven't done this.
Yeah. And
so in the end, it wasn't unanimous by any means, but it was comfortable margins in both chambers, and it's good for the state and good for all of us to come together and move forward.
Yeah, let's talk about some other hot potato topics that you guys have been dealing with this session. Let's move to guns on college campuses. This thing went through 14 different versions of it, it seems like, before it all got said and done. I'm going to have to say, I've been covering the Capitol for 20 to 25 years. This was one of the ugliest compromises I've ever seen. It's kind of like you won the ugly dog contest. You won a contest, but it was the ugly dog contest. Is anybody proud of this compromise, Senator Hutchinson?
I am proud of the sides coming together. I'm proud of Representative Collins and Senator Garner and then myself and Senator Hendren and the governor, coming at it from not totally different perspectives, but certainly different angles, and being able to sit down and work something out. I agree, it's not pretty, but compromise is inevitably, you don't like all of it.
Yeah.
And so there could be some additional legislation to help clean up some of the stuff that was left out in that compromise process. But I am proud of the process. And I am proud of the members who worked on that. And again, we'll see how it works, and if there needs to be tweaks, we can tweak it.
It was a tough fight, Representative Flowers. You were on the losing side of that battle. What do you hope happens going forward?
I think the state is on the losing side of that battle. I think it's horrible legislation. I don't know where the compromise was when universities came out against it. People in areas all over the state came out against it. And law enforcement came out against it. I don't know where the compromise was.
Well, there were supporters of the Second Amendment that were out there
the alternative legislation was that there'd be no restrictions whatsoever, no licensing, no age requirements. I mean, 7-year-olds could carry into kindergarten school. That was a bill that is still out there, but that was an alternative. So given that, there was significant compromise.
Well, that's like you're shooting me instead of stabbing me. I mean.
All right, we got to take a quick commercial break, and there will be no weapons in the commercial break. I will say that. We're going to be back with Senator Hutchinson, Representative Flowers, right after this. And welcome back. We're talking politics with Senator Jeremy Hutchinson, Representative Vivian Flowers. Let's talk about another hot potato topic you guys have gotten to deal with this session. Actually, the House got to deal with it. The Senate may not get to deal with it until the next session. The House has made the Bible the official book of Arkansas. I think everybody respects the Bible in a plentiful way, but we now have a state dinosaur in this session and a state book in this session, kind of a little creation science, evolution, irony there. Do we need a state book or a state dinosaur or a state flower or bird or song? People think you guys are wasting time when we do these things.
That came through one of my committees, and I would sort of correct that and say that it's not the law of the land, it was a resolution.
Right.
That's all.
You still spent time debating it and making it in some sort of official record, though. I guess that's my point.
Yeah, I mean, but we do that with citations. We do that with resolutions when we recognize people, kids who win football championships, and things that are very specific to my district or something that's important to some one person in my district.
Right.
And I think that those resolutions are good to sort of engage people and recognize things that don't necessarily belong in law. So I just wouldn't, I wouldn't define it as, the Bible is our state book and that's the law of the land. It was a resolution and it passed.
Right.
And many of us love and read the Bible and love the Word, but we're also beautifully a country, and including a state like ours that recognizes freedom of religion and the separation between church and state, and I think that's important. So, because the pendulum always swings both ways eventually, and I don't want someone making another religious text the official book of Arkansas as a matter of law, and that didn't happen. So I'm not, concerned about it. I read the Bible. I'm a Christian, and that's great.
True Grit was my pick for Book of the Arkansas. Let's talk about something that came through your Senate committee on the judiciary. It's still kind of pending there, and that deals with the bathroom bill. Senator Linda Collins-Smith has got this in limbo right now for single-gender bathrooms in public facilities, I think is where it stands. Does that bill move forward in this session?
I don't know. I don't know if it passes the committee and then on the floor. I haven't done a poll of all 35 senators to gauge their temperature. I understand the concern that not only Senator Linda Collins-Smith, but people have across the state. I just don't think her bill, or really any piece of legislation, can fix the problem if there is a problem. Her bill would make it a state liable for any accidental encounter in any state or public restroom. So if somebody accidentally, which I have done, accidentally walked into the wrong restroom, quickly realized it and left, but
admission of guilt here.
well,
So
I don't know of anybody who hasn't, but maybe
Right.
there's somebody out there who hasn't. But in that scenario, that person could sue the state of Arkansas, not me, but the state of Arkansas, and it's strict liability. There's no intent, it's just, and then it requires that whatever gender you are on your birth certificate, that's the restroom you use. And we have a diverse society, and there are people who are born a male, but from all appearances appear to be a woman. And under her legislation, that woman, from all appearances, would have to go into the boys' restroom with my son. That is at least as equally awkward or probably more so awkward. So I just don't think we can't fix everything legislatively.
all right, we got about 30 seconds left. Just quickly, I want each of you to give me best legislation passed this session. It could be your bill or somebody else's bill. What's the best piece of legislation you think? Maybe something under the radar, underreported.
Well, I'm going to be a little bit biased, and I'm going to highlight a bill that I sponsored, and it is a bill to designate Highway 65 as the Delta Rhythm and Blues. I'm sorry, the Delta Rhythm and Bayous Highway, and that's for a project and an alliance that's going on in Pine Bluff and other cities in southeast Arkansas to spur economic development through heritage tourism.
10 seconds.
Well, it has not passed, but I think in light of this session, it's a significant bill. I have a bill that's called the Act to Preserve the Right to be Left Alone. And I think
I've been meaning to ask you, can I get on that as a
I
co-sponsor?
think the people of Arkansas all want to co-sponsor it in this session.
All right, Senator Jeremy Hutchinson, Representative Vivian Flowers, thank you both very much. Jeremy, Vivian, thank you. All right, and thank you for watching. That's all for this week's Talk Business and Politics. We'll see you next time.